topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the host and their guests, and not those of W4CS Radio, its employees, or affiliates. W4CS makes no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening to the Cancer Support Network on W4CS.com.
Hi, good morning, everyone. It's Arthi with Light Up Your Life, and I'm so excited to be with you here on another episode. And I'm also humbled to say it's the last, I cannot believe it's already July the 31st, as many of you can imagine. And the summer is quickly going through, and I just want to remind you to always stay tuned and present to trying to take advantage of our seasons and our moments. And so I hope while our global world is always in flux with the coronavirus, it seems that you are still trying to find ways to stay present in your environment and just trying to take joy in those moments. Today, I'm really excited to have an amazing guest. As many of you know, I believe in energy work and energy healing in the form of what's called energy medicine. And of course, the whole world is really appreciating the fact that energy healing, energy work, energy medicine, quantum physics, all of this arena is powerful, dynamic, has the ability to heal. The idea behind the body healing itself with some really great techniques and interventions, that it's all possible. And as you know, one of my main passions is to make sure that we empower people to have choice. So once we recognize that we have various mediums and various ways that we can actually heal our body, mind, body, and spirit, that is really the essential goal that I find using this platform, is for you to realize how much there is that is being offered, and for you to actually become empowered to realize what it is that you want for yourself and how you can actually go about getting it. So today we actually have a special guest, Keryn Rose she's all the way from Australia. So I really want to humbly thank us for her time, because it is actually her evening over there for us. And Keryn is what's known as an intuitive energy healer. And as many of you know, intuition is the power to unlock the unconscious, of course, our subconscious, and get to our conscious way of living and live beautiful, fruitful lives. So Keryn is an intuitive energy healer, and she is what's known as a body code energy practitioner, which she will explain more about. And I actually don't want to waste too much time, because I think this is our first forum of really introducing you to energy healing and starting to understand this work. And she is a great expert and a global expert. So I'm excited to have her on. Welcome, Keryn.
Oh, look, thank you, Arthi Hun. Thank you very, very much. From the bottom of the world to the top of the world. It's quite amazing, this digital world that we live in.
I know, I agree. And even though we talk about that you're at the bottom of the world in terms of a location, Australia is a beautiful country. There's so many people crave to come to, known as also the top of the world, and all the great work that they do.
Oh, look, we are so blessed. And the state that I live in Western Australia, we go from the most southern, icy cold waters. We have the tip of the Southern Ocean down below, right up to the north into the tropics. It's all in one state. It's just phenomenal.
So beautiful. That's amazing. Yes. So first of all, thank you for the precious gift of your time, and especially for your audience, for the audience that exists here, just to start to understand and really start to realize what energy work and energy healing means, And I didn't even go into your story because that's what I want you to be able to share, because when I read the impact of how your healing intuition has played a role for your personal and professional and everything. I think those words coming out of your mouth will be so powerful. So
Look,
let's start at the beginning of time.
As the song goes, let's start at the very beginning.
Yes.
Look,
yes.
Stories are very, very powerful things, and it's what connects all of us. We all, yes, have a story, but there's always something within a story that will connect with other people. And look, for me, possibly my wake up powerful moment was the morning of my hysterectomy. I was just standing in my bathroom and I looked in the mirror and I just gently said to myself, "You've got cancer." And I said, "Okay," because I knew within me I would be okay. It was really quite a strange, almost surreal feeling. And so the surgery went ahead. It was successful. And it was actually on the morning of my discharge where I chased up and said, "Hey, look, have you done a biopsy?" Because nobody was looking for cancer. They were simply going in and doing the hysterectomy. They said, "Oh, no, we'll get back to you." And I'd not long been home and I got the call to say, "Come back." And indeed, they discovered cancer within the uterus. Now, it was a very, very powerful moment to be able to know within myself and to gently say to myself, "You've got cancer," and to know I'd be okay. I'm now 13 years down the track and, as clean as a whistle. It was very, very powerful. And every time I think about it, I go, wow, intuition is just an awesome, awesome thing. It really, really is.
I'm just listening to your story because a lot of what we do here on this network is cancer support too. So I also want to remind our listeners that there's survivorship. Keryn has already shared how many years she's out. And so survivorship is a huge part of this diagnosis. So yes, Keryn, how do you feel like that has been to really listen to your intuition in your own story after and then pulling forward?
Look, it's something I never really gave a lot of conscious thought to, Alfie. Mm-hmm. If I look back over my years, my intuition has been with me, my entire life, as it is with everybody, but it's acknowledging when it comes up. Another beautiful example for me was when my son was born. He was born with a hole in his heart. Now, I can remember him being whisked away after I had given birth. And then this wonderful, very hunky-looking cardiologist came in and said, "Hey, look, your son's got a VSD. He's got a hole in his heart, and he has a 5% chance of needing open heart surgery." And then gave me the other statistics, but I tuned out to those because as soon as he said he's got 5% chance of open heart surgery, I knew that was the bundle that he fitted into. Mm-hmm. And indeed, at 16 months, he had open heart surgery. Now, again, the surgery went beautifully. And we had a moment 3 days out from surgery. He's lying in his cot and I'm standing over his cot and I could see him almost underneath water. And it was just that mother's intuition that said to me, something's not quite right. Called the nurse over. Indeed, his lungs were filling with fluid. So he had to go back in and get that sorted. Mm-hmm. And look, I didn't think anything really about it other than I sensed there was something not quite right. Mm-hmm. From the space I now sit in, being very comfortable with the intuitive ability that I've allowed to flow, that I can look back and go, yeah, that's what was supposed to happen. And that's how we're made. Our intuition, I truly believe, Arthi, is talking to us all the time. It's always knocking on the door. Mm-hmm. And it's up to us to answer the door, open it up and go, oh, hello. You know, if you've got something to say. It's with us all the time. You know, those little moments where you're driving and suddenly you get this little voice or this urge to turn at these lights, and you're thinking that, hang on, that's not the way that I'm used to going or I'm supposed to be going. And then you read that there's been an accident or there's been a breakdown, and it just gets you to where you need to go quicker. You know, how many of us, our intuition, it's a gift that each of us come in with. It really, really is. And it's practice to listen to it and get comfortable with what it sounds like, what it feels like, what it looks like. You know, it will communicate in different ways for people. But it's a wonderful gift we all have.
I love that you're saying that we all have it. And that's part of what we can discuss today, is how we can empower people to realize we all have this gift and how to harness it. But before I go there, Keryn, you share that you have actually, when you look at your roots, you kind of realize as a little girl that you had some gifts. So can you share what now, when looking, like when you look back to the progression, what are some of the things that you did notice that maybe some of our, when we talk about it out loud, how people are like, wait, these are signs and things that I can start to see in my own story?
Look, I grew up in a very, I'm going to say a very religious family. My gorgeous pop was a minister. We spent many hours. There was always something within me that when I walked into a building that we refer to as a church, it had quite an emotive impact on me. I could just sense an energy, whether it was sensing the reverence, the music that we sang. There was an awful lot of power in it, and it went beyond what I was hearing. It had a real impact within me. And I just thought, well, all right, yes, I enjoy music very much. I enjoy my singing very much. But it was how it made me feel when I now look back and I go, wow. And I've had the joy of walking into some beautiful cathedrals. And, you know, I tingle from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet when I enter into these massive buildings, because there's an energy within them and an energy around them that I'm responding to. It's coming down to this energy. At school, kids would come to me to talk about the issues they were having with mum or with their boyfriend or with their girlfriend, you know, and I would sit and listen, and I would find the words to share. They would go away feeling better. And again, I thought nothing of it. But there was an energy within me that was able to connect with them, receive some guidance through, to just find the right words. I was being given the words to share with them, and, you know, off they go. I will share with you, I had a beautiful comment made to me a couple of weeks ago. I met up with a girlfriend, and she had a girlfriend coming to meet her. And the girlfriend approached us from behind, and she shared with my girlfriend later, she said, the aura that was being exchanged between the two of you, she said, I actually felt a bit jealous. Now, for me, I'm simply sitting there connecting with this gorgeous soul, and we're sharing as two girlfriends do. And yet someone else saw much, much more.
Yeah.
And it's something that everybody, this is where this connection comes in, and this energy. Energy is something that absolutely is electric. And it's what we talk about when we see somebody across the room, when we go, wow, that's energy talking. When some music comes on and your heart just goes, whoa, that's energy. You know, sipping a lovely glass of wine and you go, oh my goodness, that's energy. You know, it's we relate with everything in our world from an energetic perspective. It's relationships, and it's beautiful, and everybody can do it.
Yes, you're just the humbling notion of everybody can do it. It's all around us. It's in everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think if we look at children, looking at children interacting with the world, children come in pure energy. And it's just, well, I could watch children all day, how they interact with each other. They don't care what color, what size. There's another kid. Wow. And they've got this way of just connecting and having joy, having fun.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Like how kids are able to use that intuitive ability of energy, right? And how they do converse and play and in some ways, I always say, yes, we have the human mind and it's wonderful, but sometimes it takes us away from our intuitive. And I mean, you can go into this a little bit in depth, but sometimes it does take away from that heartstring of that intuition, right? So can you go into that a little bit?
Sure. What I love about children is, first and foremost, all of us still have that little child within us. Okay. And it's that little child within us that still goes, ooh, when a birthday cake comes out and you get to blow out a candle, even if there might be 60 of them on the cake, you still go, oh, there are candles there and I'm blowing them out. It's that little kid inside you, or playing with a balloon or coloring in, that is, for me, it's igniting that childlike energy that's within each one of us. And for kids, the magic lies in being present. They're always right here, right now. They know nothing else. They only know now. And that's where the magic lies. It's now. As adults, we tend to get caught up in the reality of we have a past and we're planning for the future. But in both of those spaces, there is no magic because you're not here and now.
Yes.
Which really is all that we have. And, a whole year is made up of 365, 366 lots of todays. It's all about today, today, today. And that's where our power sits. And that's where the energy is just, it's alive in the moment.
So how do you tell the clients that you work with to start to focus on that day-to-day present living so that they can build that intuitive touch, that intuitive healing, that intuitive energy force?
It comes back to, for me, staying connected with who you are. And then they can say, all right, Keryn, what does that mean? First thing in the morning, when we wake up, don't touch your phone. Don't do anything other than be with yourself. Breathe. Be grateful for the fact you've woken up, because there are many people in our world that will not even have that joy today. So you're awake. You're alive. You've got another chance to be the best version of you today. So take that moment. Imagine that you've been given a clean sheet of paper from the universe and you've got access to colors that are just the rainbow and beyond. And draw your day in your mind's eye. Tell yourself, this is what I'm going to be doing today. These are the colors that I'm choosing. I used to have a shop where I would teach children how to cook. And I loved it. I really, really loved it. And whilst the things were in the oven cooking, we would draw. And the children had access to all the colors I could get my hands on. And there were no rules. If someone wanted to use a purple crayon to draw a person, that was okay. Okay, they didn't have to be pink as it would have been, when I was growing up. It's, if a cat wants to be brindle with spots on, then that's what the child would draw. Their creativity is beautiful, and we still have that. So to give yourself permission to draw your day, draw what you like. Then you step into that day. So you've gone from your world with you into what I call your day, which involves everybody else, and you start to connect with everybody else. But first thing in the day, connect with yourself. And you're sending a message within to say, hey, number one, I love you. You're pretty awesome. And you're actually the most important person in my life. I am the most important person in my life. Then I step out and I start connecting with everybody else in my day. Then at the end of the day, you do the reverse. You say, right, my day has ended. I am stepping out of that day and into my space. Whatever that is for you, whether it be hugging a tree before you come in your front door and leaving your day with the tree and saying, hey, look after that. I'm stepping into my life now. Whether it be going and having a shower and changing your clothes, it's reconnecting with you. Okay, and it's from that moment of connection that this intuition flows.
It's amazing. First of all, I love, everybody I always say, we can all fault ourselves at times, but leave the technology alone for a few minutes in the morning. It's hugely important because the energy, we already know the transmission of energy through technology and digital overload and how quick it can start, right? But
absolutely.
But
probably for me, Arthi, more importantly, is that as soon as you pick up the phone and, for example, you get onto Facebook, you're stepping into other people's lives.
Absolutely.
And therefore, you've stepped out of yours. And, if you were to sit and have a conversation with yourself, how can you send a message of love to yourself when you say, oh, hang on, I'm just going to go and talk to this person over here. Oh, yeah, but I still love you. And you're going, hang on, mixed messages here.
Totally. Okay. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You need, and I love that you made it so simple because it doesn't always have to, and you just said breathe, which doesn't mean it has to be a 20-minute phrasing, right? It can be from anything. It can be like, in that regard.
Look, indeed. And another, during the day, okay, I can have a client say, right, Keryn, that's starting my day and that is ending my day. What about when I'm in my day and doing my stuff, whatever that stuff is? And I will just smile and say, breathe. Remember to consciously connect with your breath. And they'll kind of go, what do you mean? And I say, hey, look, thank goodness our breath is an automatic thing. Okay. However, the power that lies within a deep breath and the impact it has on the parasympathetic nervous system to just chill somebody is phenomenal. I mean, the first thing we do when we enter this life is breathe. The last thing we do when we cross over is breathe. They say that we go about 40 days without food, about 3 days without water, and about 3 minutes without air. But to consciously connect with that, again, is saying, hey, I'm here for you. And a breath will just, it's amazing. I can remember, I'm old enough to say that in growing up, the movies when they were made, if someone was upset, you'd go and make a cup of tea. There's something about making a cup of tea. Now, the fascinating thing, Arthi, is that when you actually go to sip a cup of tea, the first thing you do is take in breath. And immediately you've cut through any emotional distress because you've taken a breath. It's how we've been made. And when we stop to realize this power that lies within simple things. You know, oh my goodness.
What a way to live.
Such a joy.
Yes. There's a couple of these. We got feedback of the Draw Your Day, which I think is phenomenal. Where it says, Draw, we could change our mindset and shape our energy to be more positive. It's so true.
Absolutely.
It's like, you know, we all know about affirmations now. We all know the positive vibrations and the frequencies we send to our cellular selves, our embodiment of self, and then what it can project for how that output, that sensory output, can look for our day. Just amazing. Because I mean, art, I always believe in art for everyone. And so for you to give us permission as adults to draw your day or write about your day, however you have your whatever medium.
Indeed. It is a case of however. And, you know, on a lighter moment, I'm sad that I didn't get into the coloring in books for adults when I was doing this with the kids, you know, 20 odd years ago. But it was the mothers, because the mothers would come and sit around the room as the children were doing the cooking. You know, some of my kids were as little as 3, and we would be making things. And even the mothers would come and they would say, I've forgotten how calming it is to just sit and colour. And I go, yeah. It's stopping and remembering the joys of being a child. And I believe one of the powerful things that children bring in with them is that beautiful reminder to the parents, hey, remember when you used to be here? And it's, you know, the simplicity in just seeing a leaf on the ground and going, wow. I mean, when was the last time you, Arthi, looked out at a leaf on the ground and went, wow? You know,
I look at trees. You're right. I look at trees, but I looked at a leaf in a long time, not besides the fall when they're changing color when I notice on the ground. But you're right. Yes, like that one, those moments.
Yep. And those moments are reconnecting us with ourselves, disconnecting us from the world around, and we're sitting in that moment of absolute joy and wonderment. And that's a very, very powerful place to be.
Yes. So again, you talked about that inward space first to be able to move to our outward space for our day and how that will look for that joyful living, which I think is so great. And I think you're making it very simple for everyone to realize it's not anything that has to be a huge amount of time, but enough where you're giving yourself that kindness gift of time to yourself. We give it to everything else. We give it to our phones, our computers, our work, but that kind gift to ourselves for sure.
Arthi, if we can learn to trust ourselves and appreciate that taking 5 minutes out of whatever you're doing to stop and simply be, you know, we are a human being, not a human doing.
Yes.
We come in to be. That's our starting point.
Mm-hmm.
If we can just stop and take 3 deep breaths, which, you know, may take 3 minutes, you know, 4 minutes, the impact of that on the rest of our day is huge. It's just huge. When we're doing that deep breathing, all the voice in our head stops. There's silence here. And we go into silence here. And the silence in here gives us clarity, gives us access to focus. It's almost like it cleans the windscreen.
Yes.
You know, and gives us vision moving forward in our day.
Totally. Keryn, can we switch gears and can you talk to us about this body code? Perhaps, of course, because this is all new to me too. And I, of course, read a lot about energy healing. And of course, I'm a Reiki practitioner, but I want to learn more about this. And I'm sure people are fascinated about this body code because it is about truly, really the ability for the body to heal itself. And
look, it is a form of energy healing. It's another modality. And it's actually, I see it as the big brother of a modality known as the emotion code, which has been created by Dr. Bradley Nelson. And that came about, he as a chiropractor used to wonder why clients would come to him with an issue that he would correct, and they would return a week or two later with the same issue. So he got asking himself and the universe, why is the physical body not hanging on to the correction that we do? And the answer he was given was, there are emotions that are trapped within the physical body. Now, emotions, like color, like sound, they have a frequency. And when an emotional energy gets trapped within the body, you're trapping that frequency within the body. Now, Arthi, you have a frequency that's unique to you. That's why you're Arthi. I have my own unique frequency. Everybody does. And then to think about having all of these emotions within us, anger, shame, helplessness, worthlessness, to have these emotions trapped within us, they've all got their own frequency. So suddenly you've kind of got lots of radio stations going on within you at the same time. And if there's enough going on, physical disease can start to set in. Now, Bradley Nelson went from the emotion code as a modality to the body code. Now, the emotion code is simply gives the practitioner a chance to connect with the client's subconscious, and it's the subconscious that we ask all these questions of. So it goes from, for example, I could ask you, okay, Arthi, once I have permission to enter your energy field and have this conversation, say, all right, are there any emotional energies that are trapped within you that you'd benefit from releasing today? And if your body said yes, I'd ask your body, okay, what are they? And I work from a chart of 60 emotions, okay? And your body would go, okay, it's failure. I go, okay, cool. Thank you very much. And then we'd be able to release it. The body code expands on a variety of energetic imbalances. So the emotions are being seen as an energetic imbalance within you, because you, in an ideal world, want to have balance. You want a space of homeostasis, okay? So the body code then acknowledges things like environmental toxins, medical toxins, chemical toxins that can impact on the body and create energetic imbalances. Things like dehydration, things like physical misalignments, things like pathogens. Bradley Nelson has created a phenomenal software program that allows your subconscious, if I was working with you, to guide me through to say, all right, for example, if you were struggling with sleep, I would ask, all right, are there any energetic imbalances that are at the root cause and source of your inability to have a good night's sleep? And your subconscious go, thanks for asking. Yep, we're going to look for 20 today. And I go, okay, cool. And so I'd go through each one. And you might have something like you're unable to absorb water, or you've got some trapped emotions. You might have a misalignment within your spine. Your subconscious knows it all. And the really exciting thing is, because everybody is connected, your subconscious actually knows the computer program I'm working with, because it's connected to everything. You're connected to everything, okay? And it knows exactly how to get me to where I need to go. So I deal with people with sleep issues, people with financial issues, people with relationship issues, because everything is energy and everything is a relationship. And it's giving your subconscious the language to be able to identify what doesn't belong. And once it's identified, game's over. Okay, we can release it, move on. It's just, it's so exciting.
It is. And I think, when we look at traditional Chinese medicine and we look at how much the root cause, and even now functional medicine, all of these different approaches to looking at when we get to the root and how much of it is at that emotion centered.
Indeed.
And that's exactly what you're talking about when you talk about this emotion code.
It is. And I find when clients come to me and they come with a diagnosis, so someone might come and say, I've got migraines. The struggle I have with labels is it can confine what the body, what the subconscious can give me. It's a bit like having access to a buffet table, and if I ask for, okay, what energetic imbalances are associated with this migraine, I can only have access to the desserts, for example. Whereas if I say there is pain within the head, or there's even pain within the body, what is at the root cause and source of the pain in the body, then the subconscious goes, thanks for asking, the digestive system is just not happy at the moment. You know, and I think, wow, it's because everything is connected within the body. If someone comes to me with conditions that have been diagnosed by Western medicine, we absolutely acknowledge the condition, but it's finding the words to say, all right, there's an issue here, and how can we get to the root cause and source? And it's kind of like we take the blinkers off because the subconscious knows everything that's going on. There might have been a trauma in the client's life at 3 years of age that is contributing to what is being experienced at the moment. So it's, again, trusting the process and being open to the wisdom that the subconscious absolutely has and just so wants to share when it comes to us looking for answers.
Yes, the universe.
It's truly, truly phenomenal. And I'm glad that we've been created that way. You know, our body has the ability to heal itself.
Yes.
We need to let it.
Yes. It goes with, you know, everything. I just had this conversation earlier with someone today, and they also, it's interesting. I've had 2 global conversations this morning. That one was out of India, and this one, of course, was Australia. But why I'm mentioning this is he does Qigong and really believes a lot, again, in the energy field. And I mention this to you because it comes down to, I always say we are mammalian in nature, and mammals are very instinctive. They don't have doctors out in the wild when they are, right? And I'm just saying doctors are there to diagnose, but we have to understand as the care treatment team that comes into place, I said this a couple weeks ago, we have to start realizing that the work that we're responsible for is also a well-crafted plan that you believe in, and the idea of that body healing itself, right? Like you're
first and foremost, to know that the body has the ability to heal itself.
You're saying to really believe it is the first step, right?
Look, absolutely. And to take, and even backing up, and as I'm talking to you, I've got a vision of myself as I was recovering from my surgery. And I can remember lying there and suddenly appreciating I was totally responsible for my life. And I had to accept I was totally responsible for the space I found myself in. Okay? The cancer, I believe, and I don't want to be stirring any storms up here, but I believe my body created that because I wasn't born with it. So if my body has the ability to create such a thing, it's kind of like it's got the recipe. So we can uncreate. And I have got a couple of girlfriends that indeed were able to reduce their cancerous tumors to the point where they went into remission through no chemical intervention.
Yeah.
They first and foremost acknowledge the healing power within them. And that it's powerful. It's almost like you step up onto a podium and say, this is who I am, and this is what I can do. You know, again, that little child, look at me, mummy, look at what I'm doing as they're riding their bike. You know, it's being in that moment of, again, wonderment and magic and saying, this is who I am, and this is what I can do. And then allowing it, staying out of here.
Yes.
And being in our heart space. And it happens. Do we need to be patient? Yes. And I'm still working through the energetic imbalances as a result of the journey that I had 13 years ago. Because things keep coming up.
Yes.
And it's an ongoing journey.
Ongoing journey, of course. Keryn, would you say, when looking at your own story, would you say that when you talk about your cancer, would you say, and you said that it was not there, I wasn't born with it, and would you say that you could call yourself in terms of chronic stress? Could you say that there are points in your life where there's chronic stress involved, or when you do look?
I actually wouldn't. My chiropractor would agree with you. For me, and again, this is the joy of looking back over the beautiful life that I've had.
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't appreciate the enormity of taking responsibility for who I was. I believe I am here to be able to help others, and I kind of was born into that role. You know, I just came in, and I just love being with people. I love people. But as the saying goes, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
And I really, my mother was a beautiful example of giving and giving and giving. And I saw how she emptied herself. Mm-hmm. I also saw how she refilled herself. And again, this is me looking back with the wisdom that I have now.
Yes.
And I love dealing with the younger generations in this work I do, to say, hey, you are the most important person in your life. And yes, I'm giving you permission to tell mum, to say, hey, mum, Keryn said I'm the most important person in my life. And, you know, I'll have had a little conversation with the mothers to say, hey, this is what they're going to do. But our children are not taught that. Our children are taught to obey. And I'm thinking, whoa, where does the lesson of, if you don't look after yourself, no one else is going to?
It's true. It's so
even as
true.
a child, you know, you're responsible. It's up to you. And everyone's there to support you, but not to do for you.
Yes.
And I really believe Louise Hay, in her book, equates any type of cancer of the reproductive organs as a lack of self-care and self-love. And yeah, look, I've got to put my hand up and say, I really didn't appreciate the enormity. And it's not just something you do every once in a while, it's something you do on a daily basis. It's as important as, you know, drinking water. Yes. It's what you do each day. And it's that layering effect that keeps us, you know, smiling and keeps us vibrant and keeps us full of life.
Yes. Keryn, how long
ago? Answers your question.
Yes, you did answer my question.
Good.
You did. So, so tell us about your practice. Are you an individual sole practitioner? Are you part of a team? And I know you also do this globally. Like, share a little bit about your practice with us.
Well, from the physical perspective, I am a team of one. From a holistic perspective, I'm part of a team of many.
Yes.
And again, I'm really learning to appreciate that I have, whilst my relationship with me is number one, I've also got a relationship with spirit. And that sits at number one as well. Because first and foremost, we are energy. I heard someone refer to us from an energetic perspective is that our intuition is our first sense. It's not our sixth sense. Because first and foremost, we are energy. And it's zipped up in this human body. And for me, when I heard that, I thought, wow, suddenly there was a shift within me that first and foremost, I'm energy. So look, before COVID, and we here in Western Australia, we truly have been very blessed. We've had very little lockdown. But yes, most of my work is done remotely. And I'm starting to do more over Zoom. Most of them have been truly remote, where I just set up the time, we've had a conversation, I do the release, and then I just send a little text to say, hey, it's done now. But it's that, look, the sessions last about an hour. They're not terribly long. Can they be shorter? Absolutely. I've worked with clients in hospital. You just, go in there. It's very, very painless from a sessions perspective. I work with animals. I'm looking over here at my dogs that are sound asleep. I've worked on my chickens. I've worked on horses, dogs, cats. Everything is energy.
Yes.
Everything is energy. I work on space, on homes, on properties. It's just acknowledging the energy.
Acknowledgement.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, acknowledgement. Before I start a session, I'll acknowledge myself. I'll acknowledge the energy. You and I, and this is what I love about this digital world, we are able to do this because of the energy that's out there, in this Wi-Fi world. That's the energetic world that you and I work in as well.
It is.
It's no different. It's no different. This ability to pick up a cell phone and talk to somebody on the other side of the world, it's using energy. That's the stuff we're made of. Which is why
these are all frequencies you're absolutely 100% right? These are frequencies that are emitting. When we think of electricity, when we even think of water, when we think of all of our elements, it's all energetic force.
It's all energy. And if you can really stop and sit with that thought that everything is energy, the chair I'm sitting on is energy. The piano that I'm looking at over there is energy. Everything is energy. And we are relating to it.
Yes.
We're either going, wow, that's nice, or I don't like that, whatever it is. We are in a relationship all the time, which is why in changing our thought process, we can change. As Wayne Dyer said, change the way you look at things and what you're looking at changes.
That's true. It's true. Keryn, I can't even believe our time is almost up. I don't even know where it's so quickly. Yeah, I could talk to you forever about this. I'm sure our listeners are loving because you present things in such a humble, simple way. I always say it's not rocket science. So for you to come on and introduce the fact that it's not rocket science, you just have to start coming here a little bit more to your heart. You can't see my heart, but I'm like tapping at my heart.
Well, for me, it's child's play. I love saying that.
That's great.
And again, it's reminding everybody that little child is still within them.
Yes.
You're still that little 2-year-old. You're still that little 5-year-old. You're still that little 7-year-old. Those parts of us never leave.
Mm-hmm.
They never leave.
Absolutely.
And it's brings a smile to my face anyway when I think about it.
I know. If you're having a hard time, I think Keryn's giving the message, go hang around some children to bring it back to you if you're in that.
Oh, please. Yeah. And again, going back to that, the hours that I spent inside our children's hospital here when my kids were little, to watch a child that's supposed to be sick, getting up and running, just OMG.
Yeah, totally.
Just because they don't know any different. You know, my son was sitting up in his cot after 2 days of open heart surgery, playing. And I'm looking at him thinking, wow, but nobody told him any different. He was simply being a kid.
Being a kid. It's amazing.
And it's,
I love
that's powerful.
That. It's so powerful.
It's powerful.
Totally.
So, Afi, look, thank you for what you do, honey. Thank you for providing this platform, because people are out there asking questions. They're wanting to know, how can they're sensing there's something that's just not quite right. And they say, okay, what do I do? Where do I go? Who do I talk to? And every time we ask a question, the universe answers. You'll suddenly hear music. You'll suddenly pick up an article. You'll get the signposts to take you to where you're going to get more information to support you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Keryn. And everybody knows where to reach. Oh, thank you. You, my heart to yours for sure. Keryn, everybody can reach you on that website that you provided us. It's listed below, everyone. You can reach out. And thank you so much for such an amazing.
Look, honey, thank you. I love being able to get out and spread the word.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Everyone, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Light Up Your Life. As I always say, just keep listening to yourself. Keryn has taught us so much about just really going inward and just taking that simple journey of going inward in a simplistic way, and you'll find the answers you're looking for. All right, everyone, have a great week.